Hey, good morning. There we go. Wow. Good morning, artists. Happy Wednesday, middle of the week. It is sunny out. We are blinded down here, but we're happy about it too. It's going to be a nice day. I'm going to try and get outside and mow the lawn or something crazy like that. Be productive. Oh my goodness. But in the meantime, we've got our 1 hour challenge of trying to fold as many paper cranes as possible. Couple quick notes posted on the classroom this morning. You need to turn in 2 paper cranes. Some people are already trying to turn it in with just 1 finished. Please keep in mind that you need to turn in 2 cranes. 1 is not good enough. 2 finished ones. Also make sure that the cranes that you're turning in are yours. Please do not look up pictures off the internet of paper cranes and try to send them to me. Please do not take one of those pictures and use a typing function to put your name typed onto the picture. It will still show up when I do my searches to find the actual address, all right? Your own pictures. If you're having trouble, please tell me. Reach out. I am here to try and help you. This is not about you guys trying to sneak your way out of doing something, all right? You need to do your own work. It's better for you to do it or even struggle with it. Even if it doesn't come out looking that great, you need to still do your own work, okay? So let's get to it. Let's get to it today. Swing you around. So yesterday, we managed to finish 45. And now we're going to push on for today. Get you nice and close, but not too close, so that it doesn't freak out when my hands are there. Hope everybody's doing good this morning. At least in our area. I heard it on the news this morning that there were some places in Michigan, a little further north than us, where a dam broke and it got flooded. It's crazy. So thinking about them this morning, hope they're doing okay. I can't even imagine. I don't know what I would go with. So thinking about them today. Hoping that people at least are able to get out safely. And hoping that they said that we're supposed to be pretty nice up through the weekend, but then we're going to have another period of rain coming in. So hopefully they'll be able to do something to try and take care of them up there. And all the areas that are downriver from them that are probably getting having a situation as well. Is it still on the screen? Let's see. Barely. How about there? All right, there we go. I'm going to try and set them up in a way today that we can actually see them all. Got some Asian-inspired lo-fi hip-hop background music today. I think I tried to play it a different day, way early in the whole start of this, and I don't remember if YouTube flagged it or not. But thanks, phone. But we'll see. Is that phone telling me that yes, it's going to be flagged? Demonetized. That's alright. I actually had some good news last night. Back when I was in high school, I became really close friends with an exchange student who I always called her Kaori, which I found out much later that we were all pronouncing her name horribly wrong. But I still call her, I still refer to her as that because that's just how I knew her in high school. And we connected not too long ago over Facebook. Just kind of checking in because after high school she moved back to Japan. So I haven't seen her in well over 20 years now. Yeah, 20 years, because I graduated in 1998. Holy cow, guys. But she was doing well. I had messaged her a couple weeks ago and then didn't get a reply back. That happens. I mean, you know, you just... Sometimes you go back and forth. Sometimes it takes a little while before someone can respond. And she told me she'd had a... She couldn't respond because she had gotten a fever, but she was better. She didn't say whether or not it was the COVIDs. But I was just glad to hear from her and be able to kind of catch up a little bit. We kind of became friends back in high school when I started getting into the Japanese anime and such, the cartoons and everything. And her being Japanese and knowing about a lot of the shows that I was starting to get into, we became buddies. Her dad took a trip to Japan at one point and was willing to buy me a bunch of Sailor Moon stuff that I couldn't get over here. Some of which I still have. He had bought me a Sailor Moon doll that didn't come out in the US at all, and I still have it. But she had moved back to Japan right after we graduated, so that was 1998 she moved back. And that was before anime became as big over here as it had. Pokemon had just started coming out around that time. I think that came out in 96 over here. And it was like that, Sailor Moon, and Dragon Ball were the anime that was on TV at the time. And then you could find some in movie stores. Sometimes find the occasional rental at Blockbuster. So we were chatting, and she was a little bit surprised to see that I was doing lots of anime type stuff with you guys, between the stuff that I draw and then, you know, getting ready to do the paper cranes and the comic book we're eventually going to get to. She's like, I had no idea that Japanese was still so popular over there. And I'm like, oh yeah. You can go to the store now and you can get instant ramen and pocky and ramune in some stores even. And she was shocked. She's like, well, it is easier for us to get American snacks, but she had no idea that it was becoming such a thing here. I think it's probably feels like it's died down a little bit. Or it's at least not as popular in the school where I'm at now with you guys. My old school, we had a big nerd squad that was really into the anime. There's a couple of you at my school now who are into it. So it was great getting to connect with her again. Speaking of schools, I don't know how many of you guys keep up with any kind of news-related stuff. Probably not so much. But it just came out in the news yesterday that a school that's not too far from where I grew up has actually come out with a plan for what they're going to do for classes next year. They've already got it figured out. Or at least they they have an idea of what they want to do, and now they have to figure out how to make it happen. But they're doing, really interesting, a partially online, partially at home online learning, where only half the kids are going to come to school on certain days of the week, and then the other half of the school will come in on the other days. So like Monday and Tuesday, first half of the school will come and have classes, so it'll be much smaller class sizes. Wednesday is just all online. Thursday, Friday would be the other half. And the days that students are not in the building, they would still be doing online lessons. And I think that sounds like a pretty awesome compromise. Because of course, nothing beats face-to-face. And especially for an art room, you guys need to be in the art room where we've got all the supplies and we can do all the great stuff. But to best protect everybody from getting sick, we need to limit how many people are around. And then by having a day where the building is kind of closed to students, that would be a great time then that we can do cleaning and stuff. Disinfect everything before everyone else comes back in for the rest of the week. Now it's going to be a crazy situation that we're going to have in-person working at homework. I think it'll be a lot easier for some of the core classes and things like math and reading. But I do like the idea that we'll be able to do some stuff in person and some stuff not. That might mean, this is just me kind of thinking I'm planning out loud, what that would probably mean for me would be that we'd have kind of two assignments happening at once. You guys would have the assignments that you should be doing at home, and then we'd have the other bigger projects in class. Or it might be things like, we're going to build something, and so you guys are going to go home and you are going to be sketching out your plans at home. So when you come into the class the next time, you have your plans already set. Bam. That was the last of our orange. Let's get to some yellow. Ooh, two more. There we go. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting. It might mean that we'd have like an assignment, small assignments, the online type stuff. You'd have something to work on every week for that. And then we'd have the big projects in class. Because most of the projects that I do with you guys tend to be at least a week long, for the bigger projects at least. Especially 7th and 8th grade. Your guys' projects will sometimes be almost 2, sometimes go into a 3rd week. But if we're only seeing each other 2 times a week, that means we're going to have some big projects that are going to extend for a long time, like one big project a month kind of a thing. Means I'll have to pick out and decide what kind of stuff is easy for you guys to do at home and what kind of stuff you'd need to do in class. It's going to take a lot of planning. I think, though, with only a few exceptions, there will be plenty of stuff that will be able to start off in class, or at least give the directions in class, and then you guys will be able to take home and do. What it's probably going to mean, though, is me doing a lot of recording. Lots of assignments on video. Especially for the stuff that I'd expect you guys to do at home. We'd want to save as much of the time in class as possible for working. We'll see. Hopefully we'll have an idea of what the plan will be by the time summer hits. And then I can use the summer to do a lot of the planning and video making if necessary. Maybe I will still do them over stream. That might be a little strange though, because I'll be on stream talking like I'm in a class. We'll see. I have enjoyed doing the streaming. If nothing else, it gives me something that needs to get done every day. Gives me an excuse to do art. It is possibly contributing to some level of insanity since I'm pretty much just sitting here talking to myself. Actually, funny enough, my friend from Japan said that she watched one of my videos when we were doing the circles last week, those nice design circles. She said it reminded her of a Japanese art form that her grandmother would do, which is making these things called temari balls. And they're decorative, and they use a lot of string, and it's a lot of stitching, doing all these nice complicated designs. So she thought it was nice. And her husband, I guess, saw part of the video. And he said that I have a very nice voice, and my English is very clear and easy to understand, and he thinks I'm a good teacher. Which I thought was kind of hilarious. I've never actually met her husband. They didn't meet until after she went back to Japan. But I thought that was a nice compliment, at least, to know that my English is understandable. It makes me wonder who he listens to that is not understandable. When they were getting married, I hadn't heard from her in quite a while at that point, but I got a notice that, she was getting married, and she wanted to have some videos of well wishes. And she actually had asked if I would do one, since we had been such good friends all through high school. So I had to record a, "Hi person who used to be my best friend. It's been years and congratulations." It was fun. It was a nice, it was nice to know that I was able to, I was still in her mind, I guess, like, you don't speak to someone for a lot of years after being such close friends, you kind of wonder if they still think of you. think at this point, there's one friend that I had when I was in middle school that I'm still in touch with. We stayed friends. We were best friends all through middle school. We stayed close in high school. We didn't have hardly any classes together, so that was a little disappointing. We still found times to hang out, and we played softball together. Went to different colleges. And other than my friend in Japan, I'm trying to think. I don't really have much contact with any of my high school friends, other than the one who's now in Japan and the one who was my friend from middle school. It's funny how that works, that somebody will be your friend for life. And others, you just kind of, you write in their yearbook, keep in touch, we'll still hang out, and then your paths just take you in different directions. Boop. I've got 10 in a row going right now, so we're closing in on 20. And it's been about 22 minutes. So we're averaging roughly 1 a minute at this point, which is pretty good, I would say. I should time yourselves and let me know how fast you guys have been able to do them. Experiment. How fast did your first one go, and how fast did your second one go? When the group last trimester was doing it, I had everybody keep track of how many they were making every day so they could see their total. And we had a graph going up that showed how everybody was doing. If we are stuck doing some at-home learning next year, for those of you that are in the class that would normally do this and would have the assignment of doing the 1,000, we'd have to come up with an online tracker, probably like a Google Sheets or something. Have to start planning orders too. Figuring out what supplies. I managed to get the stuff I needed from school yesterday. I told you guys that. Although, man, if they're going to be doing something similar where we can only have a few kids in the building at a time, I'm going to have to do some really spaced out seating. At least for my room, it's a big enough room. What would probably end up happening, since they have, let's see, average number of kids, we can have quite a few. I think the largest kind of group we have might be close to 32, sometimes a little more. But if we're going with maybe 16 in a class, that means with my 8 tables, that would be 2 people per table. We could work that out. If I turn the tables in a slightly different way, could probably even put up a divider across the table so that the 2 people who are facing each other are not totally breathing on each other. It's not a bad idea. Just have to make sure that everyone will still be able to see and have enough space to work. And boop. I was able to get quite a bit of work done on my carving yesterday. I mostly finished up the girl. Now I'm working on part of it has 2 other characters. So I started working on those yesterday. First one anyway. And if I'm able to get some more work on it done, maybe as early as this weekend, I might be able to finish that up and show you guys that video. I think you'd really get a kick out of doing it. In my previous school, I was able to do some work on one of them while the kids were in class. Like, it was a class that really awesome kids stayed focused on their work. It was a group that I was able to do a lot of art while they were doing art as well. And just have to pause now and then for questions, but for the most part they were on top of things. And some of them had asked if they would be able to do a project like it with the carving, but it is not something I think I would recommend just yet. Number one, because you have to use a knife. And some people cannot always be trusted with those. We'd have to be careful. I'd be too worried about people being a little careless too and possibly cutting themselves. But we'll see if maybe this next year, if we do have kind of half class sizes, we'll probably be able to do some really interesting things with that. Alright, so that was 25 in about half an hour. So if we can keep going like this, should be able to beat 45. But that might be the limit. I might be able to get 50 done, but I think that would probably be pretty close to as far as I'm able to go. Or as fast as I'm able to go. Since it does take a certain amount of time to still do this. There's a limit to what your fingers can do. Let's see if I can get my tally in there. Scoot it just a bit. There we go. No, we lost valuable seconds. Boo. Sometimes you want to be really tricky. And I don't recommend this with too many pieces of paper because the more paper you have, the less precise the folds get. But you can sometimes do the first couple of folding steps with at least 2 pieces of paper. Save just a little time, but you don't want to do it with too many because as you have more paper, the paper kind of shifts against itself, and it's more likely that your folds won't be quite as accurate. So you gotta just be mindful. 2 you can get away with, but anything more than 2, I don't think I'd recommend. Looks like I just got a new follower. That's great. I don't think they're online anymore, but if you are, thanks for following. Pochi. I bet I know who that is. I bet that's my friend in Japan. What's the time difference there? That's like 14 hours. So if it's 10:30 here, that would be 12:30, midnight, after midnight there. That's late. That's too late. It used to not be. I'm just old now. Gone are the days when I could pull an all-nighter staying up with friends on a weekend, watching lots of anime. There were a couple times my friends and I would do that. We'd pick out an anime and we would watch like an entire series overnight. What did I do? What shows did we do that with? We did Did that with a Kenshin. We did a Kenshin party once. I don't think I made it the whole night, though. I think I fell asleep at one point. But that was fine. I'd already seen the show, so it was okay that I slept through part of it. We did that once with Fruit Basket, which was not a show, I think, that necessarily deserved missing a night of sleep for. Actually, one year at my previous school, we had a lock-in. Kids to stay at the school overnight. And I think I stayed awake the whole time for that. I know somebody brought a sleeping cot, which I had parked in front of one of the student doors, so that if they tried to sneak out of the classroom in the night, I would hear them. It was a long night. It's a long night, but it was fun. I came home and went right to bed. Went right to sleep. I think probably the most successful up all night I did was back in high school for our senior party. Our senior class did a lock-in in the school building. But they did not have, it was not a you're going to go to sleep kind of situation. It was a you were going to be awake all night. I think the only thing that helped me stay awake all night was that they had hired somebody to run a cotton candy machine. Which, you may all not know this, but I love cotton candy. It is so good. I mean, I just like sugar in general. So cotton candy is my jam. So I was on a total sugar buzz all night, and I kept bugging the guy, getting more, and at one point he was like, "Do you just want me to show you how to do it?" And I'm like, "Yes, you 100% should show me how to do this." So he showed me how to set it up and how to put in the sugar and how to gather it onto the cones. Watched me do some for a couple other people who came by. He's like, "Hey, do you want to like handle this for a little bit so I can, go use the bathroom or something?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'll stay here and make cotton candy for people." I think he was gone for over an hour though. He went on break for sure. Left me there doing it. And of course I didn't, I was just thrilled by the fact that I could make the cotton candy and I could get as much as I wanted, essentially. I don't blame him though. He was hired to stay up all night with a bunch of high school kids, demanding sugar at 3 in the morning. After they had kicked us out, one of my friends invited us all over to do breakfast at her house and to watch a movie. And I think I was still just so sugar buzzed I was the only one who didn't fall asleep while we were watching the movie. Afterwards, though, got back home. I went to bed, and I passed out until like 3 in the afternoon. I think I got home at like, my mom would probably remember better. I think it was like 9 or 10 in the morning. I finally got home. Passed straight out. Looking back, it probably wasn't too smart to stay up all night and then drive myself anywhere. But I made it home safe. And I slept. And all was okay with the world. I don't even remember whose house I went to now. Isn't that funny? My high school, we never had to go through some of the crazy stuff that you guys have had to go through. YouTube, we don't need any ads right now. Thank you. This is not my usual 3-hour-long music track that I put on in the background. So we're going to get ads. Isn't it tricky how you can't get away from the YouTube ads anymore? I mean, you can, you know, wait a few seconds and hit the skip button. You guys, most of you are probably too young to remember back when YouTube did not have ads. But I am not too shocked by it either. Same with Facebook. Facebook has a ton of ads now. Every video is like, you get interrupted by an ad. Always right in the middle, too. See, they're tricky. They're smart enough. They don't put it at the end. They don't put it at the beginning, where people just tune it out. They get you hooked in that video, and then bam, the ad pops up. And by then, you're invested in the video, so you have to sit there. You can't even, like, click to a new window, or else it will pause on you. You have to have it open. So, like, you could get up and go grab a cookie or something, but it's still sitting there. I remember way back when cable TV was starting to become the thing, and everyone was excited about it because you were paying for other channels and there wouldn't be commercials because you were paying for it. That did not last. Slowly commercials started to creep in. And now it's just typical. Same thing was true, too, for movies and movie rentals. This is going to make me sound super old. But back when we had, VHS cassettes, even before DVD, you put it in and on would pop the movie. Well, eventually, they started having previews for other movies. And luckily you could fast forward VHS, so you would always have like, you'd have like 5 or 10 minutes at the beginning of the video. That was just previews and ads and whatnot. And then finally the movie would start. I remember my dad complaining about it all the time. And then when DVD started, they started doing the same thing, is that there weren't any ads. You could just go right to the movie. So that was part of the reason why we jumped on getting a DVD player in our house. Not only because it was cool new technology, better quality and all that. But I remember my dad being really happy about there not being ads. And then they started to sneak them back in. I marked that and I hadn't finished it. Getting ahead of myself. And then we had YouTube. And YouTube started off just being free. And then ads. I feel like Michigan, we have a ton of ads in general. A couple of years ago, I took a road trip to Connecticut to go to a convention and to see a friend. And I remember coming back to Michigan and really noticing the number of billboards we have on the roads. Like, there were parts where you'd be driving through Pennsylvania and such, and there's just nothing. It was just the road and the scenery around you. And then it was like hitting Michigan, and all of a sudden there were just billboards everywhere for anything. I think you don't get to enjoy what's around you because you're looking at signs telling you there's a McDonald's in the next 10 miles. And I want to be like, dude, there's always a McDonald's in the next 10 miles. It's McDonald's. I want to say there's like at least 3 McDonald's within 10 minutes of my house. At least. If you make it 15, there's like double that. Thanks, phone. I mean, even the place where I go camping, where there's hardly any fast food around the area, there's a McDonald's. Yeah, it folded a little funny there. That's alright, we got you. Got 10 more minutes of this stream. A little less than 10 to go. If I want to try and hit 50. I need to get more jars to keep these in. I'd rather not use it baggies. I want to use baggies for food. My sister and I would like having candles partially for the smell, partially for the ambiance. And I saved the glass jars they come in. They're great for storing little craft type things. In this case, saving paper cranes. That one tried to dance away from me. No, we're definitely not getting 1,000 of these done in a week, but we're going to make a pretty good dent in that number anyway. This will be a summer-long process. Man, what would be really cool is to look into some like waterproofing. Like if there's like a waterproofing spray of some kind for waterproofing paper so you can use it outdoors. Get like an outdoor light with it. Have a cool little, that'd be really awesome going camping. Just to have it. Have a paper crane lantern hanging up at my campsite. If we can go, I don't know if the parks and such will be open by then. Although last year, a lot of the park was closed down because the water level was so high that many of the sites were flooded. And they had already talked about that there were going to be some of those same sites wouldn't be accessible. There were quite a few last year, too, that even though people were using them, they were flooded. And that's not so bad for somebody who's got, you know, like a camper or a trailer. But it is not so good for me because I have a tent. And a tent doesn't do well if you set it up in a puddle. It just doesn't. Might just have to get another sunshade and set up our beds in our car. And put the sunshade over the car so we can have some of the windows a little bit peeked open. Get some mosquito netting. That would be a tight squeeze, though, between my brother or my sister and our two dogs in the car. Especially with clothes and everything too. Oof. Oof. Do it, guys. We're going to make 50 today. Just got 2 pieces of paper left. And that'll be a nice little stopping point. Last one for today. So far, how many have we made? 70? 45 and 25? 70? 70 plus 50? 120? 120 in 3 days? It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Monday should hardly count, though. Didn't have enough time on Monday. That's okay. Sorry, they're creeping so much on the screen. They're cutting me off. Boom. Bam. 50. Excellent, excellent. Ooh, with just minutes to spare. So, I'm going to spin you guys around again. Whoop. See if we can get lined up pretty well. Look at that. Excellent. All right, everybody. So, enjoy your Wednesday. Get outside if you get the chance to while it's nice for the next couple of days. Work on some origami. Turn it in when you got it done. I'll check those all in on Friday. We will have a new assignment up next week. I know it's Memorial Day. We'll see about if I'm going to stream then or not. I'm planning on it at the moment, but things can change. We'll see. We'll see if I need a whole weekend vacation from it. But in the meantime, keep up the great work. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I know that it's feeling like it's okay to start going out and doing stuff, but we still got to be careful. So take care of yourself, okay? At least protect yourself as much as you can. And if you're sick, help protect those around you. All right? All right, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great day and see you later.